Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Well, okay. That is probably a little loud. That's a little bit better if I talk and it doesn't flatline. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Alright, that's probably better. Okay. I was going to live stream this, but I sort of realized that if I was just going to use my phone and I was going to do it on X or even on Twitch, or which I think that'd probably be more trouble than it's worth, and Discord, that'd also be a problem. I have no manual camera control, so I was trying to set this up, and it was trying to run an auto exposure every time I poke my head into the frame, so that wasn't good. I didn't like it. I am yeah, that's probably okay. Yeah, that's probably okay. I turned that down just a little bit. All right. Well, I recapped this 20M4, and it's already improved. I didn't take any pictures of what it was doing before, but it was not great. We'll say that. But right now, it's not too bad. What you're going to see is these hash marks here, 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 denote how much overscan there is. So let's hit the underscan button. So there you can see the whole monoscope pattern. That's good. And there's little wavy things in there, but I think once we get through all of the deflection settings that we're going to get that sorted out. This thing's also going to need convergence done, but I actually use my phone sometimes to do that remote view of the screen while I'm doing the convergence rings. But maybe if I can figure out how to do that with my DSLR macro lens, maybe I could still record that or stream it or something. So we'll see about that. So right off the bat, like I've recalibrated this thing, and horizontal size, vertical size is at least even. For this particular monitor, it's overscanned a little bit more than what the service manual would say. That's not too bad. I think because it's got an underscan button and that's the only thing it has, what we will probably end up doing is setting the normal scan mode up for like a 91% viewable area, and then using underscan to do the sort of reference overscan amount, the like 95, 96% viewable area in underscan mode, and that should be fine. Most people, unless they really actually want to do like a lot of video, like if they've got a VHS collection or a Laserdisc collection or DVD even, which is going to look good on this a lot better than it would on a flat panel, unless Mike G has something to say about it, then you would want to use a higher viewable area, 95, 96%, if you're going to watch TV shows or movies or something like that, because otherwise you're going to cut out more than is necessary. Now, most, if not all, I mean, the consumer TVs from the 90s and the 2000s that most people are going to be using, they're all going to be basically the same viewable area, 91%, 92%. Sony or JVC for the most part, and everyone else probably followed suit, and it's, fine to aim for that, and that's probably almost always going to be correct enough, we'll say. But you can squeeze out a little bit more on something like this if you wanted to. But I'm sure wherever this is headed when I'm done with it is going to have a lot of video games played on it, so 91% viewable area is probably ideal. Most video game systems will occupy that full area of the CRT without any black borders in that arrangement. None on the sides, top and bottom, will be cut off. I say, like, if you're looking at something like a Genesis or Super Nintendo, 224 lines, the top 3 lines and the bottom 3 lines would be cut off at 91% viewable area, with no cutoff on the sides at all. Sort of ideal world. It wouldn't be perfect all the time, and obviously some games draw less on screen to free up RAM and that sort of thing. But all the TVs at the time were designed for 91%. 91% is pretty fair. So we'll run through that here real quick and see what we can do. So let me see here. One thing you could notice, if you haven't already, these circles should all be the same size and the same shape. And you don't even really have to measure it. Like, you can tell, like, these 2 circles are way taller than these 2 circles. So vertical linearity is definitely wrong. So that'll have to be fixed before we can ever really get vertical center taken care of. But we'll get there. So first thing, I've already gone through this thing and sort of just done all the basic settings, putting everything back to like not a default state, but close. No worries there, so we're not gonna have to worry about it being sort of warped by being overdriven. I don't think it's running too bright right now. It doesn't feel like it. My camera's on 100 ISO, and the white from the TV is not, clipping, so it should be fine. But we're in this menu, right? Menu. So to get into the service menu, we're going to hit the Gaussian enter. And here we are. So that's service item number 1. So if I hit up and down on these rightmost buttons, that you're going up sequentially through the service menu items. Now the first couple we don't really have to worry about. Normal deflection, so normal mode, not underscanned. 50 for 50 hertz, so that'd be like PAL. And then deflection, which is how is the circuit drawing the image on the screen. So we don't have to worry about 50. Sorry, PAL guys, love you, but I don't have any PAL stuff, and I seriously doubt the end user has any PAL stuff, and if I'm wrong, then I'll stop by his house and fix it. But we're not going to cover that for now. So this is So the first thing, literally the first thing, this is great. Item number 4 for 60 hertz horizontal frequency. So I've made videos with this thing before. This is my Kenwood CG961 monoscope pattern generator. It's got a bunch of stuff on it. Ow, fucker. Nice little cross hatch, window pattern, characters, which is, man, that's pretty legible. That's good. full screen white, green, blue, all that good stuff. Magenta, which is fine, but no yellow, which is weird. And then this button does 100% chroma, whatever that means. But we're not worried about that. It's a black-white bounce, so it goes back and forth. Idea there is you could watch if you had caps that were misbehaving. You could probably catch it on a scope, going back and forth like that. The discharge rate probably of the cap is, if it's bad, that would be a problem. This is a frequency sweep. You actually are probably going to see some chroma little issues there in the high frequency stuff. I think one of the things I've learned recently is that these PVMs really not big on high-end composite video processing. Sony put really, really good comb filters in their consumer TVs as an end-user benefit, but a monitor like this wouldn't need one because it would probably be slaving its video signal off of a BVM, and this one's a little newer, so it probably wouldn't be slaving off of like a BVM 1911 or something like that, which had a really nice, discrete, 3-line comb filter. But you would still have your reference monitoring of your broadcast signal going through the BVM. The BVM would take the composite signal, break it into like component video, basically, extracted from composite, and then you'd send it to this as that component video. That way this TV or this monitor wouldn't try to process the composite signal. You'd get the processed signal from the BVM, and then you'd monitor it on here. So you didn't, Sony wasn't motivated to put a nice comb filter in these PVMs because that wasn't their job. It's good enough though, for the most part. Pulse bar. I would love for someone to explain to me what the hell that is at some point. I'm sure there's a function for it. 50% white, which can be helpful. Now you imagine 25 years ago, this was probably a $3,000 or $4,000 pattern generator, right? Hell, I think if you dig around on the website, they still want $1,500 for it, and they don't even make it anymore. It's very funny. There's SMPTE color bars, EBU style color bars for my PAL homies there. And then a little grayscale thing. Now the chroma switch is turned on when you hit 5 steps, so you got to turn that off. And then you just get a little grayscale. It's not fancy, but you can check. If you've got a good grayscale, this is going to look, it's not going to shift to one color or the other across the whole thing. So you quick eyeball, like, does this look normal? Yes. Okay, moving on. That sort of thing. We have more advanced tools nowadays. When I finally get deflection and convergence taken care of on this, we'll do white balance. That's the really exciting part. Maybe even the oscilloscope adjustments for the signal processing. That way, this monitor will let you do two things, right? You could have a signal coming in, and you could hit a button, and it would auto-calibrate to that signal, like Blu-ray player, DVD player, something like that. Or even this pattern generator, right? It's got color bars. You put color bars on the screen, you hit a button, it'll adjust the waveform for the signal processing based on that color bar. The nicer the color bar you have, the better the result you're going to get. And then that's saved in a separate place from the manual adjustments. So you go through with an oscilloscope. Say you were a TV engineer or a technician, probably. They handed you this monitor. They're like, get this thing cleaned up, right? Go through, recap the stuff that needs to be recapped. And then fix the deflection, fix the white balance, fix the signal processing. You would have a sort of auto mode on, auto mode off. You would set the auto mode off with the oscilloscope adjustments. That way it's correct all the time, like based on like your ideal, like your reference standard, right? And that way you can just turn the auto mode off, and it's tuned to like your sort of reference signal. You turn the auto mode on, that's a separate set of settings, and then you can use your incoming signal to tune the monitor to that signal. Now it could be an imperfect signal. For some reason, it could be like raw camera footage or something. I don't know. But you would be able to have sort of adjustments to process the color in an ideal situation, and then you can use the auto mode to sort of have a little wiggle room for stranger signals, right? Now, you can pretty much pick any video game system, and it's going to count as a stranger signal. So sometimes you could, like a Wii or something like that, the 240p test suite, which I contribute to. Shout out to Artemio. Color bars in there. We made those as good as we could make them. But the signals from the systems aren't perfect. But you could run the auto mode on this from color bars made by the Wii, and it would make some slight tweaks, probably just improve the response of the monitor to that imperfect signal, which is nice. But you wouldn't want to base that auto mode off settings on that. Though I think the Wii component video is actually pretty decent. Like I've done sort of reference calibrations with known good sources, right? Put up the color bars. Oh, here's a little trick. We'll go ahead and do this. Let's turn the chroma back on. That's good. Will this work in this mode? No, don't do that. Let's do this. Okay. Blue only mode. So, quick lesson on this. What blue only mode is, it doesn't turn just the blue on, right? What it does is it takes the blue signal and feeds it through all three electron cathodes. So you get the blue signal on all three channels. There are red, green, and blue channel. They're all sending the blue signal. And that way, if there's anything out of phase in how those signals are being delivered, you would get aberrations in this mode. So like chroma, if we turn chroma down, you would get that. These black bars would turn gray. This and this would not be the same anymore. And turn that up. We can go too high, and then these get too bright, right? These get uneven. So I'd already set this, so center click for the chroma knob. It looks fine. Phase, which is tint, right? Same thing. If there was a problem, you would see these guys flip-flopping. And so at a glance you could tell. And you could get like a pretty good, like if you were in a hurry, right? And you had a camera come in, something like that. They hooked it up and you had to monitor what the footage they had. They would probably throw on some color bars real quick, and you could just do, bright. There's your brightness adjustment right there. Now that's one of the problems with this monitor, is that the gamma's all messed up on it. So turn that there. That one disappears. You can still see that one, right? Chroma. See, right now, because I had to increase the brightness, this is now a little off. So I'm going to increase that. And then the phase is fine. think that was already okay. So technically, like, you could do a quick with just the front knobs, but you don't want to do that until after all this other stuff's done, because what you want to be able to do is put these back in the center position, right? And then it's back to being ready to accept a reference quality signal. So turn off blue only mode. That's fine. Let me go back to that. Come on. There we go. All right, so just a little run through. It's nice, but like I was saying, we have some nicer tools nowadays. I use a lot of the Spears and Munsell patterns on Blu-ray disc or DVD. The AVS Forums Rec 709 disc is also helpful. You know, these really nice, very verbose set of patterns to do much more accurate white balance and gamma control, that sort of thing. But this guy, he's nice for a lot of things, especially in deflection. So here's what we're going to do. I need to check. Right. I need to check the manual. That's right. I got the good shit. There's the service map. Okay. Strictly speaking, I should be doing the convergence first. But I'm trying to solve the technical issue of being able to set convergence well and also be able to get it on video and get it out to the internet. So I was going to put that off. All right, so pin 1 is positive, pin 3 is ground. And it's 100, right? It's the same as the other one. If I can see. Yeah. It's probably a 150 volt, but that's okay. Let's see. Well, that is peculiar because it's labeled H frequency and ground. So I suppose it would be negative to ground, right? Do. Yeah. Pin 3 is ground. Oh, you would. This is the component side. Yeah. Okay. So that outside one is probably it. Why are you being weird? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he's a genius, except on camera. I just don't want to plug it in backwards. Yeah, okay. Very good. Yeah, I was right. It's exactly the same as the other ones, but just wanted to make sure. Last thing I want to do is blow this sync separator chip on camera. Alright, so this way. Should probably just turn it off. I'm not gonna like play what do you call it? Operation? Right. with a CRT. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, yeah, nothing there. So we're gonna put this guy. All right, he's good. Now we're gonna turn it back on. No problem. Ah, see, that's very, very off. So, it's got a little bit better warming up, but we're gonna set this up. H frequency. So, that's worse. No, that's worse. There we go. We're getting there. There. See, that's too far. That's very close. That's very good. So let's save that. H frequency. How do you save? I don't remember. Right. Ding. Ding. All right. Very good. So I've covered this in a video before. The pattern generator outputs that precise NTSC 15,734 hertz signal. I use that capacitor to short circuit the sync separator, and the idea is to set H frequency so that this doesn't look as bad as it did before. Like, this isn't perfect, but they're not looking for perfect, they're looking for close enough. Like, I can see the image, it's only moving a little bit, so that's not bad. See, both 151 and 149 are unacceptable, so that's the correct setting. All right, I can probably safely pull this out. There we go. Now, might be subtle on this camera. We didn't change that value too much, but it did noticeably move this to the right a little bit. So people mistakenly try to use this or video phase for their horizontal center, and you can achieve that, but you're not going to get the best possible results that way. We'll say that. Now, video phase. So this is a good one to try and explain. Let me see if I can put it in underscan. Of course not. Let's put this in underscan. Then I'm going to turn contrast all the way down. I'm going to turn brightness all the way up. Now, we're going to go back in here. Now I need to each size. We need to turn this down so I can see what the hell's. Ah, crap. not normal def, underscan, H size, so I can see what the hell's going on. All right, so you can tell V size is wrong because, or video phase, you can tell it's wrong because there's a thick gray, like if you do the brightness, right? There's nothing there, but the maximum signal out beyond the full viewable video area, there's still more things going on, right? And so you set video phase properly by getting the actual visible thing centered relative to that gray. So basically just there's the full signal, there's the gray square behind it, and video phase will be correct if you have roughly the same amount of gray background on both sides. So that's probably pretty good. So we're going to save that. All right. Now I'm probably going to have to leave again. And then we're going to turn that off. Now I was messing with the horizontal sides for normal deflection on accident, but that's okay. But we got, no, don't do that. We got frequency right. We got phase right now. Let's save that again. Not worried about V size right now because we're going to have to revisit that after we fix the linearity problem. H size, that's what we want. So the little 1 hash mark here is touching the very edge of the screen over here, but there's just a millimeter hair's difference on this side, so it's off center. The third setting is actually a little dial back here. As long as you got the main board pulled out, and you can get at it pretty easy without having to worry about touching anything or burning your finger on a hot heat sink or something. There we go. There we go. That's better. It just needed a tiny adjustment, so that's good. All right. So we can put that back to normal position. V-center. It's fine. V-size, it's basically the same as horizontal size, so we're not worried about that right now. All right. So we're going to switch off of this and look at this, which is not bad, actually. Grand scheme of things, it's not horrific. I think if you had a scrolling pattern from 240p test suite, you might be able to notice it, right? But we're going to try and sort this out. Pin phase. Which one is pin phase? Okay, pin phase is like trapezoid, right? You're doing this or this, right? And it's sort of rotating at the center. So the hope would be to make sure these corners sort of meet the edge of the screen at the same time. That would be sort of the hope. But we're probably going to have to fiddle with this a little bit. Pin amp is more like hourglass, right? too much and you have these wings that stick out, too little, and it'll bow in on itself and start to look like a round screen instead of a square screen, or at least a rectangular one. That's okay for now. Lower pin amp and upper pin amp. So there's a separate setting for that. Interestingly enough, like up here, it looks a little straighter than down here. So we're going to check this lower pin amp, see if we can straighten that out. A little bit. But there's also upper pin amp. Let's see what that does. There's still this weird sort of hump here, but I'm thinking that's actually a different setting that's causing a problem. This one. Yeah, it's not helping much. I'm going to leave that one alone for now. Vertical linearity, V-bow, lower V-bow, okay. V-angle, okay. Could be something like that. Now, do I have one of my clear rulers handy? It's very dry in here, and I'm just shocking everything. All right, think about that. Where'd that thing wander off to? When in doubt, take a drink of your drink. Thanks, Dr. Pepper. I don't see anything in there. Not there. Not there. Not there. Well, that's fun. I don't like it. All right, we're back. I found my little sort of clear plastic ruler. So it should do the trick. What do we got here? Okay. Scare the hell out of me, son. That's pretty good. But I also want to look at it this direction. Yeah, there's something there. V-angle. extreme value. The bow better. That's good. I like that. Wish that was doing a better job. Huh. That's better. Hmm. Well, hoping for a balance here. It's actually better in the middle. I think we take better in the middle and make some other adjustments to compensate. Just using like one eye so I can see how it measures up. with the ruler. Get one thing too good and the other side is worse. The best thing to do is to balance them so that they're equally bad, because some other setting might fix both of them. Not the most exciting part of the video, that's for sure. I feel like that's what's causing the hump in the first place. I'm going to try something. Since we can't really see the consequences. I mean, we're using this line, so I guess it's not that helpful. And interestingly enough, that's not half bad. The problem is you can't do that while you're adjusting, because the deflection settings for normal and for underscan are different, and you have to get normal scan very, very good before you make the tiny tweaks for underscan to compensate for that circuit. I do not like this. By the time you bring that in enough to fix that flagging on the top, it creates a weird hump. Yeah, that relationship between pin amp and pin phase was definitely off. Doing the pin amp, right? Making everything round and then bringing it back. This corner started touching the bottom of the screen before this corner up here started touching the bottom of the screen. So since those were uneven, you use pin phase to even it out, and then go back to pin amp, and then straighten the both. You can make them equally wrong and use pin amp to fix both of them at the same time. Let's see. That's pin phase though. Shucks. That's pretty good. Pin amp. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. There's still a little weird hump in the sexy there. I'll have to see if I can improve that, but now that's quite straight. Well, that's not bad. Some of this might improve after I do the convergence, but we're definitely on the right track here. Let's see. That should be, well, yeah, I need to do linearity, so let's go back to this. Probably help if I press the right button. That would also help if I press the right button. Oh, okay. So that's that. Getting the linearity right should throw off vertical center. So we're probably going to have to measure these. About 3. This is definitely got to be bigger than 3. Sizes. Oh, fuck you. Thank you. Let's get this where we can see what the hell's going on. Oh. See how that gets cut off at the bottom way before it gets cut off at the top. Make sure we can see everything though. Three, not 3. Not V size either. V linearity. Okay, is that the same now? Three. It's not bad. It's better. We'll get a better look at that with a scrolling image. V size. Ah, right. Like I said, changing the linearity will screw up vertical center. And look, we're at 1 here and 2 there. So you know you got it right because I've got, at this step, you can see the one hash mark on the last scan line. You press it once, they both disappear. That one's a little bit there. We're gonna, there we go. That's better. So centered, the hash mark's gone for both of them, and if I change V size, they both pop back. So that's center, like by definition. Let's see. I think all that stuff's fine. I'm gonna tweak this center a little bit more. Same principle. We're gonna, there we go. Oh, fucker. Don't do that. That's better. No. Yeah. Horizontal deflection has a lot more fine adjustment than vertical. So you're usually smart to get vertical where you want it because it steps more, and then you can fine tune horizontal to match it. Try to do it the other way, you might end up sort of stuck. Let's see. I think I did that. All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to pull up, well, I'm recording with my phone, so I'm not going to be able to do that, but I think that 91% is either 1.5 or 2 on these hash marks. Like I need to overscan it even more to get there. So we can do that now. We can just make it 2 sort of arbitrarily, and that's probably going to be fine for now. V size. V center has some nice gradation, but that's about it. As you expand this, it does throw the center off just a tiny bit. So it does require, oh, come here, you little fucker. There we go. Continual massaging of all the other things, right? Like, actually, that's not too bad now. I almost wish this was just like a 1/2 inch shorter so I could get it on the glass, flat on the glass. That's not bad. Not bad. We'll test it later. See how that goes. Let's go back to the monoscope. All that still looks good. Let me save it one more time. We're going to go out, underscan, back in. VBO. You have less V size 60 for underscan. H size for underscan. Whoa, see, there are limits. There are limits. Oh, why do you hate me so much? The problem is it's supposed to be completely visible, so I don't think we're going to be able to do much with the underscan mode. It's going to be aggressive, whether we like it or not. No, the other way. Let's not break the stupid deflection circuit. Okay. So I think we're going to be stuck with something like that. It's too bad, because it could be useful. Certain high-res games, that sort of thing. This is one of the reasons I prefer the M2 MDU. It'd be nice to figure out if it's possible to rewire some of this stuff to add the overscan button from the M2 medical version, because it has a normal scan, an underscan, and an overscan, and it responds much better to having sort of underscan being like a pretty nice 100% viewable area, normal scan being like the 95, 96, and then using overscan to hit 91, 92. And then at the press of a button, you can pretty much just monitor anything you want to without having to live with too many black bars. Yeah, it's just a little wonky. Not that's gonna, that little hump, the little sexy hump is not going anywhere, which is kind of funny. See, that's where it goes totally wrong. Might be able to get away with that. And then just basically the 0 hash mark. You would. I don't like that. That's not bad. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Lots of convergence to do, you can tell. But I like that. I'm not going to do 16 by 9 until I get the Blu-ray player set up. Because I'll have an anamorphic widescreen monoscope I can use to get that set just right. All right. Let's get out of there. Turn that off. Yeah, it's good. All right. Well, hour and 15 minutes of me rambling and fiddling with this thing. It sounds like that's probably enough. You'll have to forgive my cowardice for not live streaming. But hopefully the video is helpful. Oh, well, that's the DeGauss button. All right. There we go. Done there. I'm going to look through. Yeah, 16 by 9. And then you get to the signal processing. So we walked through all of the deflection stuff. That's fine. That's a good start.